Hey everyone, this is Larry from wstrades.com, and welcome to the latest episode of the Weekly Watchlist, where I go over futures and the indexes and kind of go over the market in general, what I think is going to happen for the following week, as well as go over a few tickers that have caught my eye. So let's start off by going over futures. Right now, no major changes. You see NASDAQ, that's /NQ, is leading the biggest loser section, but not by much. It's only down 0.3%. You see that RT, that is the Russell futures, we're just even. We're at 0% change. YM, that's Dow futures, are almost even as well. Same with ES, which is S&P 500. So not any big changes. Usually you're not going to see any real moves in the actual market from futures trades during the early morning, which futures start trading at 3 o'clock Pacific time. There's not a lot of volume until trading actually starts when market opens. So unless you see the futures contracts down like 1% or more, then you're not really going to see anything happen in the actual market. So, right now just being slightly down doesn't worry me too much. You can see that the Russell, though, actually fired long on the 1 hour charts. So we could see some upward momentum coming into the Russell, but we'll check that out. So first, let's check out the Qs, which is NASDAQ ETF. And not a whole lot has changed from last week. We had a big sell-off during the week, but my prediction was they were going to come and kind of consolidate around this level on the fibs, the 78.5 level, and they did. They just, they've tried to break through it several times. You see this nasty wick on Friday where sellers just try to crush this thing, and it just got bought right back up. So not a whole lot of change. I think I'm not convinced that the selling is over. I think we might come down and hit this about 351 level on the Qs, and hopefully that acts like support. If it doesn't, then God, look out below. This thing, markets are in for trouble. So hopefully this level at about 358 holds, and we start to see some upward momentum. Again, not convinced that the sell-off is quite over yet, but we'll see. Now let's check out SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. And same thing, SPY is, exactly the same. Tried to break through the 78.6 level on the fibs. And if you didn't watch my index video that I made, I went to the weekly charts, threw the fibs up on that, and that's where these levels are coming from. It's not from anything on the daily that you can see. But yeah, like I said, SPY, same thing. Got crushed down to this 78.6 level. Got bought right back up. Tried to break through on Friday as well. And then sellers, brought this thing right back up to the, actually brought it up to the golden ratio, which is the 61.8 level. So hopefully we can see an upward move. Same thing with SPY. I'm not convinced that the selling's over. I'd like to just see some consolidation and things kind of chill out before we make a move up. You can see on the TTM histogram, momentum's trekking up. So, that's a good sign. Same thing with the MACD histogram starting to lean a little more bullishly. And RSI, man, this thing was almost oversold, just like NASDAQ. Everything was kind of really sold off. So hopefully we can see some upward momentum. But yeah, just keep an eye on this level on SPY, this about 729 level, as well as, if it breaks through that, it's going to come down here and test this 422 level for sure. Like if this doesn't hold, then hopefully 422 does. Next, we'll check out Dow, which is DIA. It's the Dow Jones Etf. And this one I'm surprised it's actually making a move up. I think it started selling off before the Qs and SPY did. So, it's been in this long downtrend and then made a pretty good move at the end of last week. And then this week was just a massive just dump. And then on Friday, actually, made a good move, about 1.5% up. But key level for Dow is or DIA is, I'd say, 337. So keep an eye on that. If it dumps below that, again, look out below. I don't see why it wouldn't. I know that there's been a lot of talk about the spending bill that Congress was trying to pass, and once again couldn't come to any sort of long-term deal. So they just signed a short-term deal. I believe it's for like 3 months. So I think had they actually signed something, gotten together, and we knew kind of the future of what was going to happen longer term, we could have seen a nice move, and I'd be a little more bullish on the markets had that happened. I don't remember. There's something else that Congress is screwing around with and can't come to terms with each other on, which I think is kind of holding up any sort of nice move up. And you've also got the Evergrande issue with China that's kind of throwing some turmoil into the market. I know there was a company that bought some of the debt, but they're still not out of the weeds by any sort of shot in the or any stretch of the imagination. So just keep an eye on that. I know there's a lot of people saying that we're going to see this just massive sell-off, and because they were manipulating the prices of houses for loans and all sorts of crap, that the Chinese housing market's going to crash, and then it's going to lead to a crash in America. Just like doom and gloom stuff. Don't necessarily believe that, but we'll see. Evergrande was an extremely massive company, and obviously pulling a whole bunch of fraud. That's why it's really dangerous to deal with any sort of Chinese company. While I'm talking about that, I'll bring that up. There was also, read an article where there was something passed a while ago, a bill that said that any Chinese company that didn't open up their books for U.S. investigators to look at was going to be delisted. So if you're holding any stocks in any Chinese companies, just keep an eye on that and make sure that they're kind of on the up and up. And like NIO, I don't think NIO is going to be in any sort of trouble or any sort of risk of being delisted, because they're all the time doing earnings. They're having conference calls. They're letting people know what's going on. So I feel safe investing in like that Chinese company, but a lot of them are just shady as hell, and it's dangerous to be dealing with them, especially with the turmoil with the Chinese government and the American government that's been going on pretty much forever. So just a little side note. Now I'll get into a few tickers that I was looking at. I called a few of them out on the podcast if you guys listen to that, or if you're interested in just playing something. Usually the episodes are pretty short, like 30 minutes or so, just for your drive to work or whatever. But now I'll go over the charts so you guys can actually see them. So I'm going to start with a couple of bullish tickers that I'm looking at, and the first one is EPD. Okay, gotta highlight it. Come on. EPD. All right, let me zoom out on this. So see, it's been in pretty good downtrend. It has some big pullbacks, massive run, pullback, but overall just this nice uptrend, and now we're in this downtrend. And for the past about 2 weeks, been consolidating pretty nicely. And you see the RSI sitting really pretty, just right in the middle, about 45. This thing has, for the past little over a week, been trying to, sell off through the about 2150 level and couldn't do it. Just kept on getting bought back up. And, with the market selling off how hard they have been, any sort of consolidation is, a good sign in my books. So, and also you've got the TTM histogram starting to trek up, which means momentum is starting to come back into this thing to the bullish side. You can barely see it, but Same thing with the MACD. It crossed over the 12, crossed over the 26 exponential moving average. So another good sign. Not like I'm just waiting for certain price levels like this. I'd set a price level at around $22 or maybe $22.50 for confirmation, and then I'd be going long on this. Like the episode me and James did on the podcast today was talking about indicators and how you shouldn't use indicators as like buy sell signals. It's just to kind of bring your attention to certain aspects, like with well, both of these are momentum indicators basically, but with the TTM squeeze, it's letting you know momentum is kind of trekking in a more bullish direction, and MACD is the same thing. It's a momentum indicator, so it's telling you, you know, when it flips green, that the 12 exponential moving average crossed over the 26, so that's a nice bullish sign. And then from there, I always look at price action, like what are buyers and sellers doing with the price of this stock. So for me, I'd say, you know, if this thing can break above this candle, then we'll have a nice run up to, you know, at least $23. But if it can't, you know, break above this level, that would be a key level that I'd be watching. So, you know, you could set an alert. If you're using Thinkorswim, you can right click, add a drawing, go over to this little like dollar symbol with a line. That's a price level. So we'll click here. Now I've got its price level set, and you can right click on it and, oh god, I always miss this thing. Oh, create alert with drawing. So you click on that, and I want to know if it crosses above that. So I'm going to say go long EPD. So now when I create this, it says, you can see right here, it says notify me with sound and mobile. If I'm just out and about and this thing crosses, I'm going to get an alert that says go long EPD. So I know that it crossed above and it broke through this resistance level. And I know the price action is working in my favor. So create, and boom, we're done. Another one I called out a week or so ago, and that's ticker symbol OPEN, which is open. And again, I had this price level set, and it was this nice resistance level. I didn't think they were going to cross it this time. Like I said in my video, because the RSI was sitting a little too high, I thought it was going to come up, touch it, this $20 level, and then kind of trek back down. And it was still going to be in an uptrend, but I thought it'd take, you know, a while to break above that. But they didn't care about the market sell-off last week and just broke right above it. And now you can see that the $20 level is acting like nice support. It's, you know, price will come down and touch it and just stay right above it, get bought back up. Had looks like a gap up on Friday, and then sold off through that 20 and then got bought right back up. So still, I'd keep an eye on that, on the $20 level on open. So for me, like, I'd go long at any point and then just set my stop slightly under this. So I'd say like 1950, because if it breaks through that, then obviously it's not recognizing that sort of trend anymore, and I'm out for a small loss. All right, now let's go over some bearish tickers. This one hit one of my scanners. It's FFIE, which is Faraday Future. And this thing hasn't been trading for very long. When is this? Yeah, so like towards the end of July, they started trading, and like all IPOs got freaking jacked when they started trading and then sold right back off. They've been in just this long-term downtrend, and I would see this kind of consolidation. So right now, they're at a very key level. I'm actually going to do it again. I'm going to set an alert. So drawing price, do it right. The bottom of this wick, and same thing, I'm going to right click it. I'm going to create an alert with the drawing, and if it crosses below that, I'm going to call this short FFIE. Boom, create. So now I know you can see the price action where This would sell off to this about, I don't know, we'll call it 850 level, and then get bought back up, sell off down to this line, couldn't break through it, get bought back up, sell off to it. So now looking at the price action, I could say, all right, it's probably going to bounce here. But if you look at all the indicators, you see the momentum just fell off of this thing, and no one's really stepping in to buy it yet, anyways. And also momentum on the MACD is bearish. So right now, I'm waiting for this thing to cross below this level, and then, you know, I'll be either selling calls, more than likely. You could buy puts, you know, whatever it is. So just for FFIE, create this price level at about, we'll call it 870, and then just be aware that if it breaks through that, then, you know, this thing hasn't been trading for long, but look out below. I have no idea, you know, where this thing would end up, because there's not a lot of information with it trading so short, but it's definitely a very bearish sign if this thing breaks through that level. All right, another one, ROST, which is Ross, the discount stores. So this one's kind of a trippy chart, and this is why I always advocate for drawing support and resistance levels, trend lines. Like I've got a few drawn here, because if you look the level it is right now, and as you can see, I have the crosshairs on my pointer. If you just put the crosshairs up to the price level it's at right now, you can see way back here and here, it pretty much respected that level. So, you know, you could set up, sometimes I'll draw trend lines from, you know, a year ago, and you'll see that things start interacting with those trend lines later on in life. So, you know, if you draw it on, you know, I don't know other charting platforms, but with Thinkorswim, you draw the line and it's there, you know, until you delete it. So you could have this line drawn from, you know, what is this? You know, the beginning of the year to this candle that was beginning of March. And if you do the right hand extension, then this thing will extend forever and ever. Like, you know, a year from now, you can still see that it stayed at that level. So right now, that's a key level for me on Ross, because they sold off, had a fat sell off on Thursday. Actually, let me zoom in. Sold off, and we'll call, you know, this is the price level it was at, sold off to it, and then got bought back up. But I don't know, I'm just not trusting them. They're not having earnings anytime soon, but, you know, price level or price action, I would assume this thing's going to bounce off of this trend line. But with the market in general, kind of semi-bearish on, I'm not too sure about it. So, you know, I'm just going to draw a line right here at about 108 on Ross, and, you know, see if it starts making a substantial move up. So you got RSI, you were almost oversold, and it's starting to trek back up. Momentum on the TTM is in a, you know, more bullish direction. MACD, not so much. It's still in a bearish direction. So I don't know. It's something I'm kind of bearish on, but not going to start trading until I get some sort of confirmation. So again, I keep an eye on Ross and that like 108 level. If it breaks below that, then let's see where it could end up. God, if it breaks below that, Ross is in trouble. You could see it probably selling off to about $95, because that, you know, we had this massive gap for, you know, whatever reason. They didn't have earnings that day, but like a pre-earnings gap up. So, you know, the last sort of support this thing could find is, yeah, around $95. So, yeah, I'd keep an eye on it. Nice downtrend right now. So right now I am bearish on them, but if they can make a move above this, you know, 108 level, I'll go long. And oh God, the one I love to hate, Baba, which is Alibaba. This chart is just always so ugly. It's just filled with gaps all over the place. And right now, you know, I've been kind of avoiding trading them because I'm like, man, they can't sell off anymore. This thing's just been in an insane downtrend, and I'm not even thinking about going long at any point. But I'm also scared to actually, go short, like sell puts or sell calls or anything, because it's just seeing this thing in this just insane downtrend that just doesn't stop. I'm still bearish as can be, but it seems like it kind of may have found a bottom at about 143. If you see where the crosshairs are, price came down, hit it, got bought back up, and then sold off to it again. So, I'd keep an eye on it at that level at about 143-ish. If it breaks below that, then it's going to keep on selling off. You can see this trend line I've had drawn, and price level or price action has hit it, come back up, came back down. About a month later, got back up, kind of just consolidated, sold off, hit it again. So, I can't see on this chart where the heck this trend line is, but with Baba, it wouldn't surprise me if this thing sold off to it. So, if it breaks through this level, the 143 level, then yeah, it's gonna die. So yeah, I'd stay away from Baba for right now until we see some sort of substantial move that shows that this thing's actually going to start making a decent move higher. And I'm pretty sure Wall Street Bets and stuff are talking about this on Reddit. So you might see some apes jump in and drive this thing, but for me, I'm not touching this. Not even thinking about going long. That's all I have written down for now. So yeah, kind of slightly cautiously optimistic that we might see some nice upward. Well, right as I say that, now Nasdaq's almost down half a point. Yeah, I'm somewhat optimistic that we might see some bullish moves in the market, but like I said, don't be surprised if we continue to sell off, and those levels I talked about on the indexes are key. If they sell through those levels, then we're going to end for a rough ride. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week.